Hi guys, this is G from Beatskillz, and today I wanted to answer the question, the main question, which is what exactly is SLAM DAWG, and what is the purpose of a plugin like this, and what is the design analogy behind this plugin. So first off, I want to start and tell you that SLAM DAWG is basically a plugin with various functions and features, and the idea was to offer less amount of controls but musically tuned frequencies and controls, so that when you tweak the plugin you can get pleasing result quicker. By no means do we intend this to replace any of the plugins that you're using. Of course, everyone has their favorites, and so do we guys. But the idea of SLAM DAWG is basically to get great sounds really quickly, and also without using a lot of plugins. Because once you use a lot of plugins, what also does happen when you're fattening up your synths or beats or putting stuff on the master bus is that the more plugins you have, the more latency creeps in. And although you might have a plugin delay compensation, but if you're playing those beats live and those virtual instruments and synths live, you will face some issues with latency, because the more plugins you have, the more delay that occurs. So the idea behind this is to get you the sound of a combination of processes. Let's start with the low end section on the left. This of course is the power switch. You can switch it off, switch it on. The left side, the first dial here, or the first control, is mud out. So mud out is basically a low cut filter, which is set at 50 hertz. So when you bring this in, it brings back the frequency which it has cut off, which is around 50 hertz. So anything below 50 hertz, when you make it at off position, is actually filtered out, and you bring it back in, it brings back that frequency that was filtered out to clean it up. Why we did that was basically to provide space for the thump and boom controls to dial in more of those frequencies and those harmonics. So when you cut 50 hertz out, these will compensate for it. The boom and thump, of course, when you increase them, will compensate. In case you plan not to use the boom and thump, then of course you can bring back all the material below, all the frequency and stuff below 50 hertz. Coming down to the thump dial. The thump dial, again, none of these are fixed frequency positions which get gain. So this is more like a something like a Pultec EQ, which when you increase certain frequencies, you can also decrease certain frequencies and get a curve working with just a boost and a cut dial. But in this case, what happens is that when you increase the thump dial, then what happens is you're getting a boost around 110 hertz near the kick drum area, and where everything sounds tight and solid in a beat. But it also is not fixed at 110, so it is going to slightly move to slightly higher frequencies as you pull this up and give it a gain. And then of course the Q setting also changes, so it's not fixed. So it's something that will dial in a more musical result as you increase it, getting in more of the the tightness of the kick drum. This is the intention of this dial. Then of course we have the boom dial. Now the boom control is not really an EQ exactly, it's also a harmonic generator. So what it's going to do is add a thickness around 60 hertz, but also add a second harmonic to that. This is helpful when you're trying to dial in low frequencies, which you also want to sound good on small speakers, because otherwise if you're dialing low frequencies with generally an EQ, those frequencies might not be present in small speakers. So, small speakers cannot represent that, and hence we added this bass enhancer. So 3 dials or 3 controls for controlling your low end pretty accurately, I guess. Then we have the heat dial. Now the heat dial, of course, is it's a distortion, and it's going to dial in a pleasant second harmonic distortion to add more presence to your sound, to add more should I say grit to your sound. And this is a common process that many mastering engineers and mixing engineers do. They do it on tracks, buses, and they sometimes also do it on the entire mix. They will pass the entire mix through certain famous distortion units, some of the British made ones and some American made distortion units, just to add a little more color and a little more presence to the track. So this is exactly what the heat dial does. And in many cases people use tape emulation plugins or tube emulation plugins. So this does that job. and it's tuned in again, like I said, to sound musical. It's never going to sound bad. So you can dial as much heat as you feel your track or bus requires. And let's move on to the other side of the plugin, the Airs dial. Airs is again a high frequency enhancer, so it's not just an EQ. It is definitely going to add more harmonics and make the sound more rich, something like an exciter process. So this is what it does, is if you've added more bass or your track is compressed and losing a lot of its clarity and presence on the top end, this can very easily clear out that material and dial back that clarity or bring back that presence or high frequency, or what we call as air. It's a very commonly used term in mix engineering world, I guess. Then the more interesting section, we've actually got two sets of compressors here. So this is two separate compressors. The pop is a type of compressor working with just one knob, and the crush is another type of compressor working in knob. But before I go further, let me tell you that the signal goes serially from pop into crush. So this is more of a compressor which brings out the attack of the signal. So if you've got a signal which lacks punch, this is going to pop the drums or your percussion, even your vocals or synths out. It's going to make it very exciting and have the punchy transients come out. So that's what pop does. It's a compressor which is designed to do that. And then this serially goes into the crush compressor. The crush is a limiter, and what it's designed to do is limit the signal cleanly without any artifacts, smoothing the sound, making it consistently compressed without any pumping effects and all. The pop is of course designed in a way that it can get you a pumping effect if that you desire. I mean, in many forms of music, especially in some of the earlier work by Daft Punk, that's the kind of process they've used. They've really squashed the sound and give it a pumping effect. So this can work like that, and then go into serially into crush. So you can use both of these compressors together or use either one of them. If you don't want to use the pop and it doesn't suit your material, you don't have to use it. You can just go to crush and actually limit the sound and make it louder and more even. That's the idea. And then of course on the right side again we have the stereo dial. So the stereo dial is a special spatial enhancer process that we have that will always keep your material mono compatible. And to be honest, it works better with material which is panned already. So if you've got your synths panned well and you've already got material which is more stereo in terms of its panning but might not have that special spatial depth and width, this is the dial which will enhance that. So you can just pretty much work with your material and pan things, and when you move this dial it will expand it even further, make it more 3D, make it more spatial, make it more pleasant, if that's the kind of sound you're looking for. Of course, going back into off will make your material mono. This is great for certain synths or other things that you've done which you recorded were in stereo, but now you want to make them mono and place them somewhere. So you can use this, make them mono, fatten them up, and then use your DAW's pan dial to pan the position anywhere. Again, like I said, you can go extreme with these effects. You can dial in a lot of heat, air, and all of this, and then again dial back the dry signal. So we've already provided parallel compression in the plugin, so you don't have to worry about how much you use the plugin or how much color you gave it. If you give it a lot of color and you want to dial back the original signal, you can just very easily move the dry knob towards the right position and go to a favorable spot that you want. So in a gist of all this, what I wanted to say is this is a coloring plugin. It can get you a lot of type of sounds. You cannot slot it really into one type of processing. It is definitely good on the master bus. You can use it subtly or extreme depending on the kind of music and sound you're doing. Also, it is great, I think, on drums, and we designed it to be good on drums, on bass. You can even use it on vocals. You can use it on synths. You can use it on separate instruments like guitars. You can even fatten up rock guitars or distorted guitars and make them even more present. Use the stereo dial and spread them. So it has various applications. Also comes with certain presets. Although the design of this processor was intended to get you involved, is basically for you to touch the dials, move them around and sculpt a sound rather than depending on presets. Because in this case, we don't really believe in the idea of presets. We feel that every material is different and you can't really have, one for all kind of situation where, you dial in a preset and it sounds good on my material, then it would also sound good on yours. In reality, your material might have very different kind of characteristics and might need another color depending on your own taste and your own way of working. So that's the idea of SLAM DAWG, and I just wanted to clear it out with our customers and with people who are looking at this plugin, have downloaded the trial, to understand more about how this functions and features. Like I said, it's not meant to replace anything. We all have our favorite tools. This is just another tool to have to work quick and still get very high quality sound. Again, I just wanted to emphasize that all of the algorithms we've designed and implemented in this are very well done. This is not something which is a quick thing. It's got every process designed in detail, and we have modeled a lot of British and American units and their sound, and basically it's a combination of great units that we ourselves use as engineers in the studio. So we wanted a combination sound without going through the hassles of patching and repatching or having to use multiple plugins. So it does definitely solve that problem, that you don't have to keep thinking every time you load a channel or a bus to stack a lot of plugins. This just might get you the desired result a little quicker. Also, because it's one plugin and the processes are designed really well and to keep everything low latency. So you could slap this on the mix bus and still play your virtual synths without having latency and changing your song around. You won't have that problem. So this is the ideology behind the design of the plugin. I hope it's clear, and I hope you understand why we made this. And we really encourage you to just download the trial and try it on your material. Just give it a shot, see what you think about it, and if you like it, then go for it. And of course, leave us a comment, give us a like if you like this video or the other videos. Let us know what you feel, so we can take your feedback in designing our future products. And by the way, we already have a line of 5 more products which are going to launch this year, and there are also new virtual instruments and tools designed for music producers and engineers to basically get them there quicker. That's the whole idea, to have less hassle, to have less number of steps to execute to get the sound in your head. Thanks again for watching and listening to this description of the plugin, and we'll catch you next time. See you.